Mel and I are thrilled to have WNBA superstar Napheesa Collier with us. Thank you so much for joining us, Phee.
Yes, thanks for having me, guys.
Before we get started, we wanted to just pay a little tribute to your podcast, Tea with A and Phee. We both have our tea here.
Yes.
We're choosing from a distance, of course. Social distancing rules apply here, but so Phee, we wanted to know, like, how have you been doing? It's been about a month, I think, since the playoffs have ended, and now you're in your off season. So how have you been doing in LA and holding up during this pandemic?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been warm, which is nice. So I went from Florida, which was warm, to here. And, my family's back in Missouri, and then some of my friends are in Minnesota, and they're telling me about snowstorms and how cold it is. And I'm glad I'm not back in that reality yet, but I go home soon. So you guys are in Montreal, so I'm sure it's probably cold there too right now.
Yeah.
Brisk. Yeah.
Not bad, yeah.
Yeah.
The snow hasn't flown yet, but soon.
Waiting for that first fall, yeah.
Winter is coming. That's all we know.
Over here as long as I can to outrun it.
That's awesome. So, like, beyond having like a successful season, in the midst of a pandemic, obviously number one was keeping you guys safe and like showing some good basketball. Do you think like the Wobble actually kind of helped advance the WNBA? So in the final, the TV ratings were up like 15%. Do you think sort of having this Wobble in the midst of a pandemic was maybe slightly positive for viewership and just, I guess, putting the WNBA out there more?
Yeah, I think it was positive for a couple of reasons. The first reason that we wanted our season to be focused on Black Lives Matter and dedicated to Breonna Taylor. So that really kind of gave us a platform to keep talking about that, because even though we're professional athletes and people might listen to us more than, maybe an average person, having an actual season kind of just keeps us more relevant to be able to talk on that subject more. And then ratings, were a lot better for us this year, starting even from the draft, just because, it's a pandemic, so people don't really have a lot to do. So we had more people tuning in, and then I think they kind of stayed because they saw the quality of the content that we were putting out when we stepped on the court. I was definitely taking some positives out of a bad situation being in that Wobble.
Yeah, and I think like for us, Safi and I, it's like the WNBA's like been a little bit difficult to access like in Canada. Like you have to like find links and stuff. So accessibility was like improved, and obviously the talent is there and the product is awesome. I was wondering, like, aside from the experience of living in a Wobble, was the basketball any different? Like, obviously you have to see your opponents potentially after like a tough loss and, maybe take an elevator ride with refs that, blew the game for you. So like, was playing the basketball different for you guys in that environment?
Yeah, it was different. It was weird to, at first, I think in the beginning it was weird. So like, you would have practice and you'd be scouting these teams, and you go eat lunch with them. And it's like, I'm scouting you and I know what you do, or like, you guys just beat us or whatever it might be. But I think for the most part, we did a good job of leaving it on the court. Everyone's actually super friendly with each other. We probably all band together to be against the refs more than anything. So seeing them was more awkward than seeing the other players, just because we had a common enemy. But no, it was great.
You mentioned in your podcast, there were a couple of services that were offered, I think maybe midway through the bubble, especially with the hairdressers that came and the hair removal services. Were there any other, I guess, quote unquote perks, if you will, or, were there things that were missing and you wish that you had?
Those were kind of the only like services that we had. But it was a lot of fun. I just came from college, and it kind of reminded me of that again. Rooming with my teammates, being so close to them, and it was cool being around the other teams because I have friends on other teams, so you got to see them a lot more than you would in a regular season. And the campus that we stayed on is huge, IMG Academy. It's a high school, which I've never seen a high school that nice. It looks like a college campus. And they did a great job of like planning little events to keep us engaged and trying to make it as fun for us as possible. So I actually had a good time.
I guess, yeah, definitely like coming up from college, when you enter the real world, it's almost like more difficult. So you did kind of have a nice transition. Now, this is like your second season, right? So was it very different in general from your first season? Obviously it was a bubble pandemic, but like for you personally, did you find it different? Or are you just like more confident?
Yeah, I think just being a lot more comfortable. Everything wasn't so brand new. I mean, I knew the plays coming in. I knew my teammates more. I knew what the system of our team was about. So it was just kind of hard the first time around. And, you know, I felt bad for the rookies this year because everything was so different and new for them. And having that shortened season, you really had to like learn quickly or you're left behind. So they did a great job. I really commend them on how quickly they picked up things because it was not easy.
Yeah, well, you mentioned had a large volume. Sorry, Safs.
Yeah, no
you guys were
worries,
playing like every second day or so, from what we heard. So that takes a toll on your body. Do you think that was kind of detrimental a little bit? I know you guys spoke to a lot of injuries. Do you think?
Yeah.
It hurt?
Yeah, it was hard. We played every other day, which was also great for ratings because you could turn on the TV every single day and there was a game. So it was great from an entertainment standpoint, but from having to actually do it, it is really hard on your body. And I think you saw that with a lot of injuries throughout the league, unfortunately. And, you know, going into it, we knew that was going to be a risk. We knew what the schedule was going to look like. We knew that there were going to be injuries. So it's not like it was a shock, but it was still obviously really hard to go through.
Yeah, it seemed pretty tough. Like every week there were new injuries announced and to a lot of like well-known players on top of it all. But I think it was cool because like Mel and I were getting into the game this year, really, in my case, really was this summer that I really watched a lot of WNBA, and I realized that there were a lot of stars who weren't there for either health reasons or because they got injured early. So it exposed me, and I think a lot of people, to other players who maybe in a regular situation might have not been on the court. But we want to move on to your podcast because, again, like I said, Mel and I, like, we just got into the WNBA, and when I found out that you and A'ja Wilson had a podcast, I was like, okay, well, this is a great way for me to like learn another side, to learn the personalities in the game. And like, honestly, like your friendship with A'ja, like it shined through. And, you know, as a listener, I felt like, you know, I see your logo, the two of you sitting, sipping tea or coffee, and I felt like I was there too. So like, how come you guys decided to do a podcast? Is that something you've always wanted to do?
No, it's not something that's ever been on my radar or I've felt compelled to ever do. It was actually my fiance's idea. And I was like, what am I going to talk about for 30 minutes to an hour? Just talking, you know, I don't like to do that. Why would you even suggest this to me? But no, we thought it was a good idea because, first of all, A'ja's awesome. Her personality is so much fun to be around. And we just thought it'd be cool to like hear our perspectives, being two younger people in the league, two up and coming people in the league, how we kind of view the world and how we view like how it changed from when we used to watch it when we were younger, and how our perspective might be different than, you know, the vets and the legends in our league. So we thought that it would just kind of be cool to talk about that and to bring other people on and talk about what they do.
That's awesome. Before this, had you ever like listened to podcasts, or this was just out of the blue? Your fiance was like, you should try this, and you were like, wait, what is a podcast? Like, did you consume
I
it
have been a guest on podcasts, but I never listened. But doing that has made me want. I'm a really big reader, so I haven't I want to listen to podcasts, especially like I'm really into mysteries. So I heard there's some good like murder mystery podcasts, but like I just can't get away from my books yet. So it's really when I travel that I listen to audiobooks, or I would listen to a podcast. So I'm about to start doing that more coming up. So that's when I think I'm going to start checking that out more.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where you find one podcast and then you get hooked, and then eventually you expand. Because like I, like you, for a while I was just like, I don't know, I'd rather listen to music or like pick up a book or watch a show. But then I found one podcast I like, and then it just like grew from there. And then, well, look where we are. We have a podcast. Is this something that you and A'ja are going to bring back next season, or continue in the off season, or, you know, those 8 episodes you released in the bubble, like that was it?
Yeah, we're hoping to do a season 2 because we had so much fun. It's going to be a little bit harder because I'm sure, as you guys know, technology, like doing it over Zoom is a lot different than doing it when you two are together and then maybe bringing on a guest.
Yeah.
So we haven't had an episode when we've had to do that yet. So we'll see. But we're definitely hopeful for, another season because it was so much fun. And I think we'd like to keep going.
I think you should. Honestly, listening to it is really fun. I like how you guys keep it loose. At one point, you and Asia were laughing so much and trying to cover the mic, and I was laughing in my kitchen because it was so contagious. And I think as a non-basketball player, and I never really watched that much basketball. Started watching the WNBA. Obviously, I watched Raptors, when we won, because I think all of Canada jumped on that on that ship. But I'm learning so much, just the lingo you guys use too. I was like, wait, I don't even know what that means, and I'm Googling shit because I was like, I forget that other athletes also have their own language. I'm sure if people hear me talk about hockey, it's just if you don't experience it. But one parallel I did find is that, you and Asia talked a lot about the refs and sort of the inconsistency in reffing. And this is something I experience in women's hockey as well. So I was wondering, where do you think that comes from? And then why are they so reluctant to let us play physical? Because it's the same thing on our end. And do you think this is something that's just going to change with more experience? What do you think it is about reffing inconsistency in your sport?
I'm sure it's some kind of non-conscious sexism bias, saying that we can't be as physical or we don't want to get anyone to get hurt. So I think it will eventually be more equal. Either they're going to make the men play less physical or they're going to let us play more physical. I know it stems from a good place. I don't want anyone to get hurt, but you have to be, in my opinion, consistent because we're playing the exact same sport. So why are our rules different than theirs?
It's the same thing. And if it's inconsistent for me, what I find is it affects the way I play my game. Because I could go in the corner against one girl and kind of lay my shoulder in her. It's fine, get the puck. And then next play, I go do the same thing. I get a penalty. So the third time I go in the corner, I'm like, what should I do? I was
exactly.
Is this girl gonna crumble under me or not?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm pretty sure I tweeted about this or something, but I would rather let us play more physical. But I just want you to call it consistently throughout the game, at least, so I know how to play throughout the game. It's not like every other possession it's a different call. So I definitely feel you on that one.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
Yeah, I feel you, girl.
I know. Every time I watch, when I worked in women's hockey, so that's how Mel and I met. And I'd be watching the game, and something would be called, and I was like, "Wait, that wasn't called 2 seconds ago. This doesn't make any sense." But I feel like reffing is the most frustrating part of
going forever.
Sport,
yeah.
Right? Moving on. So you mentioned BLM towards the start of the interview, and we wanted to talk about the social justice movement that took place, especially in the WNBA. Historically, the league and its players have been so involved in so many different movements when it comes to social justice. And I really feel like the players have set the standard for how other teams and other sports leagues should conduct themselves. So, in the bubble, you were all together. Was it easier to mobilize having that proximity with each other, especially when sometimes there's a bit more last minute, with the protests, with all the different leagues canceling their games? What was it like to kind of live that all together?
It was a lot easier to all be in the same place because you're not having to juggle trying to get everyone on the phone or on a Zoom call to try to get, because we do a really great job of trying to get everyone's opinion before we make a decision, because we like to stand in solidarity. So we're all pushing out the same message. So they do try to get us together with all those big decisions. So being able to just kind of go in a room instead of, like I said, juggling, getting everyone on the phone was a lot easier, especially with the protests when at the last minute we were meeting at the gym. 2 teams, there was 2 games that day. And so there was 4 teams, and it's 30 minutes before the first game, and we're all on the court talking about if we're even going to play. So it was really crazy, and it was nice to, especially with what our cause is, being able to be so close to talk about it, because like you said, there were snap decisions that had to be made, and being together just made it so much easier.
Yeah, I bet. And, recently your commissioner, Kathy Engelbert, she stated that, this wasn't a one and done situation. This is something that the league wants to continue being vocal about. And we've seen throughout this season how there are certain owners, I believe it was the Atlanta Dreams owner, who's not so fond of Black Lives Matter. And you guys are very, very vocal about that. So how does it feel like as a player to see that, okay, yeah, there are certain owners who aren't on the same page, but at least, you have your commissioner who's backing all the players up moving forward.
Yes, it's awesome being a part of a league who supports us in what we do, knowing that we're more than athletes and we see change that we want to help enact. So, yeah, the whole ownership with Atlanta was obviously really disheartening, distressing to us because why do you even want to be a part of our league if you feel that way, being who the members of the league are? So we just, I think, came from a point of obviously we disagree with what her stance was and questioning why she wanted to be involved with us in the first place. But for the most part, the league has been awesome, being on our side, helping us in any way that they can. If we want to do anything, if we have any questions, they've been great with just helping us get our message out and all that. So I feel really lucky to be a part of a league that supports us so fully.
No, and it's really a beautiful thing, and you guys deserve so much credit. Like, I know sometimes people look to the NBA after they boycotted their games and, we're all actively like, somebody else has been doing this for years. Like, you guys deserve all the credit. And I think, do you think this like mobilization is going to kind of trickle down to the NCAA? Like at UConn, as a team, were you guys ever involved in social justice movements? Obviously, maybe not to the extent where you could kind of boycott a game, but is your hope that it trickles down to the NCAA sports where they have also a lot of power?
Yeah, they have so much power in the NCAA. I would say they probably have more power than we do in the WNBA. College sports is watched so much, and it brings in so much money that if you start messing with that, people who make that money are going to make a change because you're affecting their pocketbooks, and that's what's important to them. We never had anything like that really when I was there. The biggest thing was our discussion if were we going to go to the White House if we won because of, Trump, obviously.
Right.
So that was kind of the biggest decision that we had to make. And, I'm not sure what's going to happen in the future or if they're going to have any decisions like that coming up. But I hope if they do realize that they have a voice and they can stand up the same way that we did. And they're going to have it's going to be a huge thing if they do that, because like I said, NCAA is such a powerhouse that something's going to have to change.
Yeah, and they almost like don't have anything to lose. Like, already they're being exploited. Like I played NCAA too. Like, maybe you'll threaten to take my scholarship away, but there's no way they're going to do that, and I'm not making any money. So so you're right, they probably have more power. I guess, with boycotting the games, was that like a difficult decision? Because obviously we love sport, but as a unit, was that an easy decision for you guys? You're like, this is the right thing to do. There's no hesitation.
It wasn't an easy decision. We wanted to stand in solidarity with the NBA because we knew the cause was right, but we also knew that we came to the league with this season knowing that we had to play games to get our message out. And if we did play the game, we could still get our message out. We could do different things throughout the game. We could have and an idea was in the beginning of each quarter, we take the first possession off so the announcers have an opportunity to talk about Black Lives Matter, doing different things. So some people have the opinion, if we don't play, then we're not going to get the airtime to talk about those things. And we did come to the bubble knowing that we had to play these games. And then obviously for the most part, in the end, we decided that we needed to stand with NBA and what they were doing for these games. So no, it was not an easy decision.
Yeah, I can imagine, but it was inspiring. Like as a fan and just as a person, it was inspiring, and I was really proud of you guys for that. And I'm really proud of you guys, and I hope women's hockey, like we need to improve. Hockey in general needs to improve. Like we are so far behind and it's so sad. So, with our future league, hopefully, like we hope to kind of be as I guess like equitable and as you guys, and really fight for what you believe in. So that's not even a question. Like
no,
it was
but
really fun to watch you guys in the Wobble.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, even for myself this summer, I was just so discouraged by seeing the lack of action from a bunch of leagues. And, you know, that's actually one of the reasons why I got into the WNBA, because I was like, okay, these are a group of women who are speaking up for what matters. And I just thought, especially when you're on social media, you see so much crap all the time. And I was like, okay, if I follow the WNBA, like, the message is getting across. And it's an insanely, obviously you guys are all super, super talented, and I was just mad at myself for missing out on all these years. So but I'll get my merch. I'll get my orange hoodie pretty soon.
It took so long to get this thing. Like, shipping to Montreal seemed like it.
Yeah, they're like,
my God, and it was like stuck at the border. They're like, what is this orange hoodie? I'm like, it's fine, just cross the border.
Oh no.
I guess kind of. I was gonna say,
yeah, they're probably like, come from America. Oh.
Yeah.
Should we allow this across the border? I'm not so sure.
Are you sure you want this? I guess, you know, you guys are inspiring a lot of young girls, and just transitioning to that. You're new in the league. How is the WNBA like an inspiration for you? Like, was that what you always wanted to achieve, or for you was it more the Olympic team? Like, in women's hockey, we don't have a professional league at the moment that's really viable or like pays a living wage. So for us, like, the pinnacle of it is the Olympic team. For you, did you always aspire to the WNBA, or was it when you were younger, it was just kind of like this fun league and it's grown up over the time? How did it inspire you?
When I was younger, I think it was definitely the Olympics, because I honestly wasn't a huge sports watcher growing up. I played a lot of sports. I played a bunch of sports, but I was more, you know, like I said, I love to read, go to the movies, hang out with my family, do other things. I think it was because I was playing so many sports. When I got home, I kind of wanted a break from it.
Yeah,
so, but obviously was something that we always watched. And so the Olympics was something that I always strived for. And then when I got into, you know, like high school, college, obviously at that point, I'm like, okay, this is something that I want to do professionally. And that's really when I kind of locked into it and started watching a lot more and kind of set my sights on it.
That's so cool. I mean, and that's actually a great segue, because we wanted to talk about the Olympics. We did a little bit of research, of course, on you, and we saw that you were named to Team USA's 3-on-3 basketball team, which is going to be brand new at the Summer Olympics, hopefully in 2021 in Tokyo. So we wanted to talk to you about that. Hopefully. I mean, I've never, fingers crossed at this point. But, you know, like, what are some of the differences, I guess, when it comes to training for 3-on-3 basketball and I guess regular basketball? Is it similar, or, you know, do you have to work your cardio even more to be in tip top shape?
It's really, really different. They're basically two different sports, actually. The goal is the same, to score, but like the way you play is so different. And yes, cardio is huge. I like the first practice of 3-on-3 because
wait, is it the same
longest
court?
can go 10 minutes. It's a half court.
Okay.
So it's like,
sorry for cutting you off. I'm imagining this big. I'm like, yo, I think win 2 times down.
I know, that would be terrible. No, it's a half court, so that's good. But it's the first one to score 21 points or a 10-minute game. It goes by 1s and 2s. But there's a 12-second shot clock, so there's a shot going up at least every 12 seconds. So it's just really fast-paced, really fun to watch. There's 4 people on your team, 1 sub. So no coach. There's no coach allowed. Yeah, it's really fun, though.
Yo, this like street basketball kind of like, it's like as far as rules, other than the shot clock, like all basic rules as before. I guess you wouldn't throw up picks all the time. There's only 3 of you. I don't know where we got cut off, but like I was kind of saying like 3-on-3 makes me think it's like street basketball. Like there's fewer rules, like it's fast paced. As far as rules, other than the 12-second shot clock, is everything else kind of the same? Is there a 3-point line?
There's a 3-point line. Okay. It is like street ball because it's way rougher. You can be a lot more aggressive in it.
Nice.
I mean, there are little rule changes. Like when the other team scores, you have to clear. They can't touch you in the circle of the hoop.
Okay.
And then you have to clear the ball from the 3-point line. Yeah, different things like that. It is like street ball though. Honestly, it's very aggressive.
I'm really excited to watch it. That sounds fun. Like I was telling Safia while you were frozen, it kind of makes me think, I don't know if you've ever watched rugby. I never really watched rugby until the past Olympics when rugby sevens came in, and I was like, shit, this thing is fire. Like it's like just so much faster than normal rugby and rough as shit. Like those women are like machines. I'm like, they run fast. They're
scary. I know. It's fun
like,
to watch.
So fun. So I mean, we're really excited to watch that. I guess what do you think this impact is going to have for like the sports? Do you think this is going to elevate basketball in general, elevate just 3-on-3 basketball for younger people? I guess, what do you think the impact is going to be?
So it's actually been a pretty big deal around the world, except for America for a while now. 3-on-3 has been pretty popular. And yeah, I don't know. So we were at our training camp for USA for 3-on-3, and we obviously thought we were preparing for the Olympics. But one of the coaches said that they think it's going to translate down to high school and AAU tournaments and things like that. And there's going to be scholarships in the future where people will play college 3-on-3. I don't know if that'll ever happen. It'll be crazy, but that's what he's projecting.
That's sick. I mean,
we have a little game we want to play with you. It might seem familiar. It's something that you and Asia do in your own podcast. So it's start one, bench one, cut one, but it's the dessert.
Excellent.
So we want to know between banana bread, apple pie, and chocolate chip cookies. Which one do you start, which one you bench, and which one you cut for apple pie?
Okay, that one's easy. I'm going to start banana bread because obviously. Bench cookies and cut apple pie.
All right, that's what we
okay.
thought.
I was trying to think. I was like, okay, what's like? I want to make it hard, but I was like, I don't know what desserts aside from banana bread.
I said, I love cupcakes. So it would have been a hard decision who to start if it was cupcakes.
Ooh,
okay.
I see. Well, we would like some tea. So, did Asia finally eat your banana bread? Like, we need to know. Like, we can't wait a whole other season.
Yeah, we gotta know.
She did not eat my banana bread.
Did Holly bring her some banana bread in the bubble, but she couldn't eat it because there were nuts in it, I think?
Yeah, she did. Which I'm kind of glad because I need to control this outcome. Like I need to make the banana bread. I need to make it with sour cream, but tell her there's no sour cream. And then I'll tell her after she likes it. Yeah. So.
That's the best way to do it.
I had never heard about the sour cream.
Me neither.
So I had to Google that shit. I was like, what recipe is she using?
Maybe it's like an American secret that us in Canada, we don't know about.
You put it in muffins or like bread type things. It makes it really moist. So
next time you just tell her, here's some brown bread. Because it's like a little brownish, right? Like, here's some healthy brown bread, some food before the game. Before we let you go, just quickly, do you have any plans for the off season? Are you going to be playing overseas or you're staying put in the U.S.?
So I'm planning to play in January overseas. I haven't signed anywhere yet, but right now until, Christmas, December, I'm just kind of with my family and working out and trying to, recover and things like that.
Yeah, I was going to say, let your body heal a little bit. Before we let you go, Phee, do you want to plug your podcast and social media so people can find you?
Yes. So our podcast is Tea with A and Phee, and our page is WNBA Tea. So follow us and look for more updates.
Any chance your merch can be made available in Canada? Because I tried ordering and it was like US only.
Oh no. Okay, I'll tell them.
All right, cool. I'll be keeping an eye. All right, Phee, thank you so much for joining Mel and I. This was such a fun conversation, and we hope to one day watch a WNBA game in person once this pandemic ends, and we'll be there cheering for you.
Yes, thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.